a carbon neutral future, one that looks 30 years in advance. You will be aware that we have been considering the future of oil and gas exploration for some time. In considering this issue, we have looked at the need for security of supply, ongoing regional employment, and fulfilling our goals around climate change. Each of these issues have been well represented by the parties standing before you today, and I want to acknowledge the strong advocacy of New Zealand First, particularly around regional employment and the protection of existing permit holders, and the leadership of the Green Party on issues around climate change and our path towards it. We have reached collective consensus, one that gives certainty and sets out a plan for the future. When it comes to climate change, our plan is clear. We are committed to the goal of becoming a net zero emissions economy by 2050, with an interim step of making our electricity system 100% renewable by 2035. We have also started work on how we will achieve that. We want to encourage and incentivise innovation and investment to deliver a clean, green, carbon neutral New Zealand. And the Green Investment Fund will support this under the leadership of Minister James Shaw. We are setting up an independent climate commission of experts who will develop carbon budgets right through to 2050. That means they'll set the amount of carbon we can afford to put into the atmosphere each year to get us to carbon neutrality, while ensuring we have enough energy available to run our economy and our country. As part of our regional economic development work and under the leadership of Minister Shane Jones, we have started a program to plant 1 billion trees in the next 10 years. This will contribute to reducing CO2 emissions, both through CO2 absorption and by reducing erosion. We've also started our plan to make sure we are focused on just transitions. That means setting out long lead times and investing in regions where we anticipate change in the future. Minister Woods is particularly focused on this issue, as is Minister Jones, and we've asked MB to start work coordinating this activity. And last week, for instance, we announced $20 million in regional initiatives in Taranaki through the Provincial Growth Fund, an announcement Shane Jones made. But transitions have to start somewhere. And unless we make decisions today that will essentially take effect in 30 or more years' time, we run the risk of acting too late and causing abrupt shocks to communities and our country. I have seen that happen once in the 1980s, and I don't want to see it again. That is why the decision that we have announced today is not one that will change the landscape immediately, but it will down the track, and we are ready for it. Today we are announcing that the government will end new offshore oil exploration permits in New Zealand. Onshore blocks will continue in Taranaki for the next 3 years, at which time we will reassess. All existing permits will remain protected, and that includes all 57 existing exploration and mining permits, many of which last for decades from now. This is about striking a balance. It's about knowing that we have security of supply, and not only do we have that with 26 existing producing fields, we have existing exploration permits that cover an area roughly the size of the North Island. It's about ensuring that the jobs that are there today will remain tomorrow, while anticipating what the future holds too, and committing as a government to doing something about it. I am proud of this government for facing up to the inevitable and for planning for it.
Now, the Green Party and thousands of New Zealanders have been working towards this day and to this announcement for a very long time, for many years, in fact, some for several decades. Ending deep-sea oil and gas exploration has long been a goal of the Green Party, and today in government we are delivering on it. This decision means that our beaches, our whales, our Maui's dolphin are safer today from the possibility of a Deepwater Horizon style event than they have been in some time. Our Pacific Island neighbours can know for sure now that we have their backs. Scientists tell us that we already cannot burn something like 80% of the world's known fossil fuel reserves if we are to stop catastrophic climate change. It just does not make sense looking for more in that context. So today we have drawn a line in the sand and we are setting the country on a long path to a clean energy, low carbon future.
It's important that everyone realise that we are a government, although we have three parties involved, we have a common purpose, we have a common kaupapa. And the notion that we should not prepare for the inevitable disruptiveness that's going to afflict New Zealand as we fulfil our obligations and live up to our international credentials in respect of climate change is foolhardy. We must be prepared to stand up and lead the transition.